Hello guys, this is Sandra here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. It's lovely to have you here and I hope you're gonna enjoy your time. Today's video, I want to keep it fairly short and simple, but I wanted to show you anyway as a little additional video to my one pen palette, which is my eyeshadow penning project this year, or the next 2 years probably, knowing me. But basically in that eyeshadow in that video, I did say that I want to hit at least one pen in every single eyeshadow palette that I own, and if I remember the numbers correctly, I have 39 eyeshadow palettes at the moment. Now some of them might have, I don't know, 24 shades, others might only be a quad, but still that's a lot of eyeshadow palettes. So I just, decided that that's the best way to pen them. If you want to see that video, it will be in the cards and in the description box. But today I wanted to show you all the palettes that I already have at least one pen on, if not more. And these are just my eyeshadow palettes, so there's no palette in there that's a face and eyeshadow palette, and that's what I said in that video as well, that I'm not including those for now. Neither do I include my singles at this point, maybe later on, but not for now. Another disclaimer before I jump into these palettes, if you want to see this look, I will link that video down below and in the cards as well. It's my Colourpop unboxing and try-on haul. I love it. I just filmed it, but you'll see it up before this one. But for now, let's jump into the palettes. So I have 10 palettes all together that have at least one pen on them, if not more. Some of these you might have seen, other ones you maybe not, so I'm just gonna go through them. So the first one, I have them all in a pile, so I'm gonna go in no particular order, just how I piled it up. The first one is my Becca Ombre Rouge palette. Now this collects fingerprints like there's no tomorrow. And I have a one pen in this palette, and it's in that nudie, pinky, cool toned shade. Well, I say cool toned, it's a warm toned palette, but that's the coolest in there, I find. And I really, really liked it. I often use it with like a more burgundy eyeshadow as well to help to blend it out. It's a beautiful transition shade as well, and I really enjoy using it. It's just such an easy shade to use. And it's a decent sized pen in there as well, so I'm really pleased with that. I like eyeshadow palettes like this. I find that this is really comparable in terms of shades, not necessarily in terms of formula because I never tried it, but whenever I look at it I think of the, I wanted to say it so quickly, the Dose of Colors palette, oh my god. They have similar setups as well with the Sassy Sienna and the browns or whatever. That's what the layout reminds me of, and it has a really decent mirror in there as well, so it's perfect for on the go if you just want a neutral look. So this palette is something you're going to be really familiar with. It's the Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air palette, as you've seen me having it about. And this was one of my Pen Those palettes last year, so the packaging is literally falling apart. But this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's seen a lot of love last year. Now this one is not even the eyeshadow from this palette. I repressed another skin colored eyeshadow in there. But this is definitely a well-loved palette. Now I'm thinking of depotting this and just putting some of the shades that I love from here into a Z palette. If you have any tips on how to depot these shadows without breaking them to pieces, let me know. I'm just a bit worried that if I depot this, most of the shadows, because they have pen on them, they're gonna break, so I'm not too sure. That's the only reason why I'm hesitating, because I do like the shadows in there, but there are just a few that I could not care less about, so I feel like there's not much point keeping a whole palette, but we'll see. Oh, now I can't close it. What the heck? Okay, got it after like 10 minutes of struggling. The next palette, I'm sure you've seen it before, and this is one I got from my friend a few years ago, and I was obsessed with it when I got it. This is the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions. Now this has been on the market for quite a while, but mine is well loved. Look at that. I mean, I have 3 huge pens in them. The shadows still perform really, really well. My favorite is definitely that orangey corally shade and this burgundy one, but lately I dug into this pink as well. I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see. Obviously the yellow was a huge love at one point. I quite like that purple as well. Maybe I should pen a bit more of this soon because it's getting a bit old, but I really, really love it. Now I feel like while you can create a few looks with this by itself, I feel like this is more of a perfect companion palette, just because sometimes if you want a full-blown look with this, it can be hard to find shades that work together, that blend each other out. So usually I like to use these together, or even that one, and then the purple. But then I feel like when it comes to like this bluey purple and then these greens, there's nothing really that works in there that blends it out nicely. But I mean, it's well loved. It's an amazing palette. Thank you, Michaela. This was amazing, and I still highly recommend it. I don't know if you can actually still get it, but if you can, I love this palette. It's so good, and it definitely has a special place in my heart. Now the next one is a palette that I have a review on. Everything, by the way, if I have a tutorial with these, I will link them below. The next palette is something that I had a mixed review on. I feel like it's a good palette, but it's not necessarily a palette that I would use standalone, but it's great to blend out brights, and it's the Beauty Bay Pastels palette. And I actually have a huge palette, which does surprise me, but at the same time doesn't, because the more I use it, the more I feel like it's quite a bit powdery. But look at that, and the pens are not that deep. But as you can see, I have a decent pen in it, and also all the other ones have a nice usage on them as well. I actually have a pastel look that I created with this that I absolutely love that look to this day. I will try to pop that onto the screen, and again I will link the video below. So yeah, on this palette at this point, the more I use it, the more I feel like it has a lot of kickback, but at the same time I feel like it's a pastel, so it's never going to have that much of a color payoff. And I like it, but I don't. But it's amazing to blend out brights, and obviously that shade, you know, it's amazing to blend out purples. And I do like this palette, and I think for £10, especially if you like brights, for £10 it's a great companion palette to blend those out, so well worth the money. The next one is one that I was working on last year as well, and it's one of my oldest palettes. It's the Balm Nudetude palette, and it has decent usage on it, definitely. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pens, and one completely gone. Now I feel like this is one that I hold on for memory's sake, because this used to be such an iconic palette, but at the same time I know I'm not really using it anymore, because most of the shadows don't work how they're supposed to anymore, I feel like. They work fine, and some of them work better than others, like the shimmer shades, especially the 3 lighter ones. These 3 I love. They are so good, but then some of the other ones I feel like they don't work as well as they used to. But then again, I hold on to it for memory's sake, so I don't know how much longer this will be with me, but this is definitely something that is, you know, it deserved its iconic state. Is that how you would say it? I don't know. I have trouble, clearly. Another palette that I only have pen on because it used to be in one of my project pens, and I sort of regret buying this because I don't feel like it performs really well, and it's the Too Faced Pretty Rich palette. Now the packaging is a bit obnoxious, you don't need this big of a packaging, and please let me know which Too Faced palettes you like, because I know a lot of people talk really highly about them. And I have this one, and then I have one of the newer ones, the Mini Spice, or whatever it's called. I have the box here because it's adorable, the Gingerbread Spice. And while I like that palette more than I do this one, I still feel like the formula in there is a bit hit and miss. So please let me know which palettes you like from Too Faced, because so far I'm not too convinced. But anyway, I have shade in the shade, it's Cashmere, which is that brown. That's again a perfect cool toned transition shade. Let me bring it in a bit closer. I'm not overly blown away by this palette. I mean, a few shades in here are really nice. Like, I really like Set the Jewel Tone. I also like Silver Spoon. I thought I'm gonna love Cool Under Pressure, this black one, because it has a bit of shimmer running through it, but honestly it does not show through on the skin. The pressed glitters that I was really excited about, I'm not a big fan of, apart from Diamond Life. That has the biggest like dip in it, and that shade is actually amazing. camera, thank you. But yeah, I'm not really fussed about this palette, and I feel like I don't use it too much, and I should reach for it more often, but it just doesn't excite me. But I at least have one pen in there, only because of a project pen, but it's still a pen, so you know, I will take it. And then I have 4 more palettes. One of them is my Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice. Now, first of all, I love the packaging. And also, I hold this palette dearly because Luke got it for me for Christmas. He knew I was eyeing it up, and he got it for me. So I really, really like it. And my favorite shade in this palette, now I always forget the name, is called Mirage, which is this beautiful brown shade. It gives off such a nice sheen on the skin and on the eye. Sorry, I'm in a really awkward position, but this has a tiny pen in it. I hope you can see. It's really hard to see. It's really tiny. I barely just noticed it that I did that. But that shade is amazing. Now, luckily, there's still plenty left in there again. The pen is the teeniest, tiniest of pens in there. I hope you could see. But I love it. I also love all these other shades in there that are more like that shifting kind of, I want to say satin, but it's more glowy than a satin. And also the mattes blend in there beautifully. I actually use this palette quite a few times, but it doesn't look it. I should bring that more often, but yeah, whenever I reach for this palette, 99% of the time I'm gonna reach for that shade because it's just so beautiful. It looks quite cool tone in there, but on the lid, especially when you blend it out, it just gives it this really natural kind of glow, and there's just something really beautiful about it. I absolutely adore it. So that palette will stay with me forever, probably. I don't like getting rid of presents. I really don't. Or makeup in general, but you know, presents especially. So the next palette is something that looks a bit worse for wear in the packaging. It used to say Volcano Goddess with gold lettering, and you can sort of see it a little bit, but it's mostly gone. And this is by Becca. It was their Christmas collection now 3 years ago. And I use this palette quite a lot. I have 3 pens in there, 1, 2, 3. Now this one I got pen on in a project pen, and then those 2 I penned naturally, and I'm not too far of a pen in here either. There's quite a sizable bit in that shade as well. Now those 3 pressed glitter type of shades are quite hard to work with, but the rest of the shadows are amazing. Like these satiny shades in there, they just glide on the skin. The mattes in here are actually quite different, I find, from the formula in the 5 pan palette that I showed you. These I feel like are a bit more creamy and buttery. It's not to say I don't like the other ones. Obviously, I still love it. I hit pen in it, but I feel like these are just a hint better. But yeah, all of them were super buttery, super easy to work with, apart from these 3. Those could be a bit of a pain, and that's why, while there was a bit of dirt dip in them, I haven't used them too often, even though I was really excited about that. It just was a bit hard to work with, but the palette itself was really, really nice. So I don't know why not people talked about it. I guess it's because the color story is fairly neutral. But I really enjoyed it. Sometimes you just want a nice neutral palette. Now, second to last palette is the Juvia Place Magic Mini. And this one was never in a project pen, I don't think. No, I don't think so. I think I hit pen on it on my own, and it has 2 pens in it. One in, again, in the skin color, and one in the pink. Now the pink got a bit broken once when it fell, but I didn't have pen on it, so I smooshed it back in, and then I actually hit pen on it from using it. It's a really nice pink. In general, I love this palette. The shimmers are really smooth, the neutral colors are really buttery and really easy to blend. And this is my only Juvia Place palettes. I feel like I really need to get more from the brand because they are really affordable, and the eyeshadows that I tried, this only one palette, but these eyeshadows are amazing. So let me know, what is your favorite Juvia Place product? I would love to know. I feel like I need to put more on my list. But yeah, this one I absolutely adore. Obviously I have 2 pens in it without putting in a project, so that tells you a lot. And then the last palette, I haven't reached for it in a while, and I think this needs to be decluttered soon because I don't think most of the shades work the best in here anymore. But again, if you know how to depot this, please tell me, because I would love to save some shades. But this is the Morphe 35B palette, and this was like my very first colourful palette. I had it longer than my Huda beauty one, so it has like this white, absolutely destroyed, that yellow that has pen in it, that green, that blue. Some of the other ones have like really big dips in them as well, and when I got this palette I was over the moon and back. I absolutely loved it, and I still think that for the money and just in general, even if, you know, I would have probably paid more money for it, because even though back then I didn't want to spend a lot of money, these shadows were really, really good. Now I feel like they are still really nice, especially the brighter, lighter ones. I still feel like work a lot better than some of the deeper shades. It is probably because it's getting older and I don't know, those age differently, I don't know, but the lighter shades still work amazingly. I find those ones are a bit of a hit and miss, but yeah, the mattes blended amazingly in here, the shimmers are really nice, and I feel like this was such an iconic palette as well. I think a lot of people mentioned it at one point because it has so many colors, and I'm pretty sure this came out before like the Jaclyn Hill and the Morphe and the James Charles and all those. Like, this is from before that time. And I really, really liked it. I mean, obviously it was never in a project, it just got all these organic pens on it, and I loved it. Whenever I wanted a colourful look, this is the palette I came to use, and it's well loved. It looks a bit rough, but it definitely is well loved. So those are the 10 palettes that have pens on. Let me know what you think, and also, what is your most used palette? I would love to know. Tell me in the comments below what's your most used palette. But for now, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and please, please, please consider subscribing. It would mean so much to me if you would join this little community. But for now, I'm gonna go. I will hopefully see you in my next video, and have a lovely day. Bye bye.